Kesey wrote One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and he got the inspiration to write this novel after working in a mental institution. A few years later, the same Ken Kesey, All-American son, football player, wrestler in college, would later volunteer to participate in the LSD drug studies, which Allen Ginsberg, who Kesey would later meet, discovered that the CIA had arranged for these testings to be done. Kesey tried out the LSD trials a number of times, and he discovered that he really, really loved tripping. Fast forward from then to 1964. Ken Kesey gets a group of people together whom he dubs the Merry Pranksters, and they decide to take a cross-country trip in a bus named Further. This journey would later be documented in a novel form by Tom Wolfe called The Electric Kool-Aid Acid Test. Kesey and his Merry Pranksters also filmed this journey, which you can now watch. It's called The Magic Bus. And strange fact, the guy that drove the bus, his name was Cassidy. Now, Cassidy was the inspiration for Jack Kerouac's On the Road. And also, Cassidy knew Kerouac, and he knew Allen Ginsberg. So they decided to drive, like, on their road trip. They started in California, and they went along the southern coast, and then down up to the East Coast till they got to New York City. In New York City, people loved to see this bus. They drove through Harlem, etc. People were taking pictures of the bus. And this is where Kesey and his merry band of pranksters met Allen Ginsberg and Jack Kerouac. They tried to impress Kerouac because, you know, hey, this guy wrote On the Road, but Kerouac by then was such an old man, and he was kind of, you know, old, and he wasn't impressed with them, and he kind of thought they were annoying, I guess. So after this, they decided to go meet Timothy Leary, who is famous and notorious for his LSD, you know, experiments. And he has a mansion outside of Poughkeepsie. I can't remember the exact name of the town, and I'm wondering if it's still there. So they decided to drive there and try to meet Timothy Leary, and they got shot down because Timothy Leary's group of people were just coming down from an acid trip. Meanwhile, Ken Kesey and his pranksters were just starting theirs. So they just conflicted. They didn't, you know, really get along, so they didn't hang around too long. Then Cassidy, who originally drove them, decided to stay there, and, you know, they had to drive themselves all the way back to California. So back at Ken Kesey's farm, he started these things called the acid test, where he would get people together and they would just drop acid, you know, just to experiment and whatnot and have fun. And during this time, the group that is now known as the Grateful Dead played music, and it all started there with Ken Kesey. It's almost like the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, almost. But in the end, I think this is a very interesting bunch of tidbits and an interesting story. And what a long, strange trip it's been. Thanks for watching, guys. I watched The Magic Bus last night, and I had read the Electric Kool-Aid Acid Test, and I wanted to share this with you because I thought these were some interesting facts, and I thought it was pretty damn cool. And maybe a lot of people nowadays have forgotten these things, but they're still relevant somewhat today. And yeah, so all these things I've mentioned, feel free to go ahead and check them out.